Hi, I'm Chuck Dorsett for Weaver Leather Supply, and this is the Leather Element. If you've got a good question for us, or a good idea for a Leather Element, drop it in the comment box below. Also, if you want to know when our videos release, just click your notifications. You'll know exactly when these come out. So how about a shop tricks? Now, a good mechanic will always say it's about the quality of the tools that we use. Okay, sales pitch alert. At Weaver, that's what we're about. But I'd like to add to that. It's the tools and the tricks. So I'm hoping there's something here that's going to help you out with your projects. We may not be thinking about this one, but open-toed shoes in our shop. I try to avoid these for me and my visitors. Now, it's a leather shop. We don't have a lot of large equipment. Very, very uncommon to have a serious injury. But one thing I can guarantee, if we drop a craft knife, that's exactly what it's going to do. But there are all kinds of things in our shop that can cause a problem here. Oblongs, English punch, round end. We've got a sharp edge, sharp corners, but most of all, those are heavy. The skiver, one of my all-time favorites. Round knives, corner knives, scissors, and right here, heavy mauls. In fact, that's not even a heavy maul. And right there, that's an eyelet setter or a grommet setter. That's got a lot of weight to it, and that could definitely do some damage. Now, for those of us that work in a spare room or an office at home or the garage, if you've ever stepped on a spot barefoot, oh, that's a whole new level of pain. So, we don't need work boots, but just a simple, good pair of shoes. It's going to mean the difference between a ouch and an oh no. When we're hand sewing thinner weights, typically getting the needles through the leather, not really an issue. But when we jump up to much thicker weights like this skirting or multiple plies, that can get tough because it's a thin needle and it's a little bit slippery. So let's do this. Let's get the needle started. Then I'm actually going to pull down on the needle. I'm actually going to push the thread. I'll place my thumbnail under the needle. Same on this side. Now when I push through, I'm actually pushing on the thread and not the needle. But also I can pull down, so therefore the points miss our thumbs. That can be very irritating. But if we do that, that makes it very easy to get through multiple plies or thicker leather. Now, one more good point. We want to make sure we don't hand sew wet. Here's what I'm talking about. So right here, we've got a pretty consistent stitch line. On the back, we've got an absolute disaster. That's because I wasn't patient. It's not one of my strong points. But if we sew something wet, either wet with dye or water, we're going to create nothing but a mess. But if we give it time, let everything dry, we're going to get a pretty stitch line. When we're hand sewing, points and corners can be a little bit tough to hit. Right here on a chap yoke, I've got 4 different points with a chisel, a flat chisel. Even if I get that right down there in the bottom, that's going to be a lot of hole on the tip. Secondly, the thread coming in and going out, it's almost going to make it look like it's jumping across. So here's an easy way to go. Let's take our awl. This is our little wooden awl, and I love these. All kinds of uses in our shop. But now what I can do is with our pad, this is from setting our spots, I can put that right in that point. Good. Now we've got holes that our thread's going to go straight in and straight out. From there, we can work our chisel around. We're going to have very clean points and corners. We've touched on this in the past, but this is one material that's a big help to me in my shop. This is called bar stock. It is simply pieces of steel. We can buy this at any hardware store, multiple widths, and it's not terribly expensive. But first and foremost, I love our squares. Can't do it without it. But that's not a very tall straight edge. Right there, we've got 3/16 of an inch. If we add our non-slip tape to the front and the back, we've got almost a 1/4 inch of depth there. So therefore, when we're cutting, first off, we've got a good solid straight edge. It's going to stay where we hold it. But secondly, very little risk of our blade jumping our straight edge. I've got a square somewhere in my shop, can't find it. But you can see a bad cut to right there. Guess what stopped my blade? We don't want that to happen. So some good thickness there makes all the difference in the world. Now, secondly, when I make a pouch, purse, holster, sheath, I'm not always sure where this hole is going to land. Well, we know where that one's going to land. We can punch that with our pattern. But I like to put everything together then come in, mark where that hole needs to be. Well, now we got a problem. We've got to punch a hole and set a snap or a rivet. So let's take some of our bar stock. Right here, this is just our poly cutting board. As they age, we can cut these down with just a simple jigsaw. But now I can slide that in. Now I can punch my hole where I need it. I can flip this over, and now I can set a line 24 or a rivet if needed. And I can go as deep as I want to. Now, if we don't have an old cutting board, 2 8-9s back to back, more than enough to keep us from dinging our round hole. And right here, this is 1.5 inch wide, standard belt width. In fact, down here, you can see where I've marked for my blank lengths. So again, bar stock, big help to us in our shop. I love autumn, one of my favorite seasons, but I also love to add paint to our leather projects. That does so much for us. But here's the problem, our top coat. Now, I love the leather bone, but it's a liquid. So even if our paint is absolutely dry, when we apply this, then buff this back off, it's going to take some of that paint with us. We don't want that. But secondly, that's going to give us a different texture between our painted areas and our dyed areas. Here's a good alternative, our Saddle Lac. This is my favorite top coat. We've got a good video on this, a couple of tricks to using it, easy tricks, but also good ventilation here. But the two biggest points, first off, we spray this on. We don't have to apply or buff. Our paint's going to stay right where it is. But secondly, we're going to get a very similar texture between our painted areas and our dyed areas. That's a nice touch. Like I said, I hope there's something in here that can help us out with our projects. And don't hesitate to drop in your own great tricks and tips in the comment section below. If you're having trouble with something, odds are someone else is as well. And if you've got a good trick, there's no telling how much help you could be to them. You might just get them over that one obstacle they had no way around. That's what's great about Leathercrafters. We're always happy to help. I hope this is good information for you. Thanks for taking time to watch The Leather Element. Good luck with your projects.